You people, you know who I am. But you don't know why I'm here.
There and hand over the title. Well, I did what I had to do because that was right.
Here on Mid-South Wrestling.
Well, thank you. First of all, I'm just happy to be here. You know, today was,
I'm the track about not having won the World Heavyweight title.
Hey, would you take a look in the National Enquirer this week? Has some wrestling news in there. Well, I went down to the store and I bought one, and as I looked through it,
now proclaimed $1 million champion, Ted DiBiase, a man who overtook Thursday night, November the 7th, shot at the title.
Oh, shot at the title. Let's face it, there isn't nobody in the whole wide world that doesn't figure I can't beat Holman.
Legends. Let's rethink this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the newest episode of Legends. Let's rethink this. I'm Dollar Bill Dave. My filter-free podcast co-hosts Timmy C and TJ Stevens are here with me with our special guest this month, none other than legendary referee Mike Chioda. Mike, thank you so much for joining us this month.
Man, thank you for having me, man. Thanks for the kind words there, Dave. How you doing, Tim, TJ? What's going on, guys?
Mr.
living the
Chioda.
dream.
All right.
So let's just go ahead and we'll let the cat out of the bag to start this.
You got it.
That beautiful deep voice of Mike Chioda.
Should work for a strip club, right? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage. Candice.
Mercedes.
Tip your dancers and your waitresses.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I should have done that. Probably would have made more money.
Yeah. So before we started the show, you were telling us that you've had people come up and offer you some voiceover work.
Yeah.
Is that something you're gonna possibly do here in the future?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'll get into it, see what happens. You know, like I signed with a company which it's like all about like it's like an agency that takes care of legends and everything, and so it's CMG out of Beverly Hills, California. So they might get me into some voiceover work, and we'll see where it goes from there. Obviously, you don't need no training or schooling or license for it, so we'll see what happens. Come in as John Cena.
You could be you'd make a great Optimus Prime if Peter Cullen ever kicks the bucket. You'd be,
Well, he's going to.
Autobots roll out.
I guarantee he's going to die.
He's gotta be.
He will die
one
day.
So let's get it started. I know myself, I'm 41 years old.
Right.
The voice of my childhood is the one that got you into professional wrestling, Gorilla Monsoon.
That's correct.
So yes, JR is absolutely Hall of Fame worthy. And JR even retweeted me one time. People were talking about the greatest commentary duos.
Right.
And I grew up with Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura, or Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Yes.
And those two to me were the absolute best. And then comes King and JR.
Yep.
How did you get to know Gorilla?
Well, I grew up in Willingboro, New Jersey. And, his daughter Valerie and Joey. I grew up with Joey and Valerie. So I mean, me and Valerie were the same age. Went to high school. Joey's just a year or so older than me, but we hung out all the time. We lived like 5 minutes from each other in Willingboro, New Jersey. So we played baseball. We loved playing baseball. We were friends in Willingboro, grew up and played baseball and just had wrestling in common. He was a referee after high school. Went into refereeing and WWF at the time, and I used to work part-time like for Gorilla because he used to own a ring in South Jersey from Vince McMahon Sr. So he had a certain territory in the South Jersey area, Philadelphia, Wildwood, New Jersey, and he had Salisbury, Maryland, he had like parts of Pennsylvania and stuff like that, Allentown and so forth. And we would do shows in the summertime. So Joey would be ref and I'd be doing ring crew with Tony Chimmel. And Victor Quiones used to, he was like a stepson of Gorilla. And he used to run the ring crew and everything. So and it was great. I mean, because I was making like $500 a night, and I was 15 years old, working in the summer times, working on the weekends and the shows. And I mean, I would get paid like $50 for the ring, $50 for music, $50 for timekeeping, $50 for robes and stuff like that. And then I'd make 10 cents off the dollar on selling programs, and I'd wind up selling like 3,000 fucking programs. You had Andre the Giant on the cover. You had Big John Studd on the cover, Rick Martel, Tony Gurria. You had, I mean, it's like the programs were $1, and you used to slip the card in the program and everything. And, they had like 8 pages. And so when I thought I was going to get 10 cents off the dollar, I was like, I ain't going to make shit. But when he sold 3,000 programs before the show and intermission, he made $300, selling programs and 200 on the ring. And so, I mean, growing up with Joey, and then I worked in, my dad got sick in 1984, massive stroke. So, physically he couldn't really support the family much anymore. So I had to step up, and I was a machinist and everything, building test missiles for the Navy. And 17, and, it was about 16 and 17 in school. I would get out at noon and go work the rest of the day on a DECA program, work 8 hours doing that. But then I knew there was more money in wrestling. I stopped proceeding my machinery career and baseball career, and went back to wrestling, and asked Joey for a job, and talked to Joey and Gorilla, and they got me back in. So it was awesome. And that's how it took off.
So I have a question. Were the wrestlers jealous that you were making more money than they were at these shows?
You'd be surprised, man, when you heard Dino Bravo's contract and all these other guys on all these documentaries, like they were fucking making $1 million contract and 800,000. And, the wrestlers were getting paid back then. That's for sure. Wrestlers were getting paid, man.
Somewhere Iron Mike Sharp was pissed.
Yeah, right.
Because he was stuck in the shower
for an hour. Yeah, you would. I'll tell you, we would have that ring down, Tony Chimmel and I, 45 minutes to an hour or so, the ring and barricades and everything, and he'd still be in the fucking showering in the locker rooms. We'd take our last piss before we hop in the truck to get going. We'd be all like loaded up, the building's empty, and Mike's still taking a fucking shower. The fuck?
What are you doing in the shower for an hour?
Oh, bro, he used to scrub so clean. Oh my God, he would just shower for a fucking hour. I'm serious. That's what he used to do.
What is that?
What his water bill was.
What is that condition when you're a germaphobe? I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, no, he was something like a germophobic too.
Yeah.
I believe.
So he wrestles. Good thing he didn't wrestle Vader.
Oh my God, right? He would have flipped out.
Count out victory.
But I remember that one time about Mike Iron Sharp, man. I remember Virgil was like, "Hey, grab a hold." And he looked at Virgil. He said, "What? I don't fucking know how to grab a hold." And he gloms him with that fucking forearm again. Kept just glomming Virgil. And he was stiff as all get out too, boy. But Mike, Mike used to sit there for 2 hours and just do like like his own hardcore workout, man. Like to use the roller and sit-ups and crunches and all the other stuff and push-ups. But he was a hard worker, man. He'd get to the arena, work out for a couple hours by himself somewhere on the floor, and then and then he'd shower for an hour after his match.
Did you ever see him win a match?
I think I did. Yeah, I did. I have
that
seen
one.
A couple matches. Yeah, maybe one or two. Probably one or two. That is true.
When he beat Barry Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Barry Horowitz or something.
Yeah.
Or Steve Lombardi. Yeah, I mean, but it was weird because Mike was on first, and he'd be in that fucking shower, and we'd be ready to leave with the ring. It was amazing, and he'd be on first or second.
That's crazy.
Good old days.
All right, Timmy, what you got?
Well, I had a few things I wanted to, obviously I was wanted to know more about Gorilla and Joey, because I know that you and Joey were best friends, and he was amazing.
Yeah.
Did you kind of pattern your style after him, or?
No, I mean, like, he taught, he gave me a lot of inside and outside advice, and, how to, just how to referee is first, like teaching me how to referee when I was, doing ring crew. I came back to WWE like 85, 86, so close to 86 almost, and then went full time. And then I started refereeing in like 87 and made my debut on TV in 89. He just, when I started refereeing, he helped me out tremendously. And then traveling with him and, just saying, hey, you got to just make sure you don't do this, don't do that, and it was just a lot of things we talked about as far as what he knew in the business already. And which was very helpful for me to break into the business because, you go in with the wrong attitude or wrong this or wrong that, it's just like, in other words, like never, don't ever call wrestling fake or don't do this or don't do that, and just show me the ropes when we were running the road, like just show me the ropes of everything and just help me out with refereeing. I mean, there was one Survivor Series, I believe it was in 89 when I was making a debut on Survivor Series. And I've said this before, but like, he's like, I said, Joey, how the fuck do you keep up with 5 finishes? Like you got to think of every fucking finish. And like, and I wasn't used to really communicating with the boys on a verbal I was still green at that point. And, he says, just like this, brother, he picks up his hand. He's got all the finishes written down on his left hand because he counts with his right. He said, yeah, I fucked up one time and I put it on my right hand. And when I was counting, it was all sweaty and counting, it smeared up. No shit. He goes, put it on your left hand. I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. So, I wrote all the finishes on my, left hand because we didn't have IFBs back then, and you were getting cues from Mark Yaten with the pencil and stuff. And he'd give you cues by fingers and stuff like that. So we didn't have IFBs and communication in the 80s and 90s. So,
well, I just remember, there two different styles to officiating. You have like probably back then it would be the Hebner style where it's not so much falling into the background. You're kind of a player in the match, or you have Joey who always just seemed to fall back into the background and you didn't even notice he was there till you get near the finish.
And what I'm told from Gorilla Monsoon and Pat Patterson and Chief J over all the years, all the great icons and legends in the business, the less you're seen and noticed in the ring is the more you're doing your job.
Correct.
And you're not in business for yourself. Like referees.
We'll get back to that.
But you're just you're not in business for yourself. I remember one time when I was like slapping hands after a fuck finish, a screw job. Somebody was holding the tights. I get out and I'm slapping hands down the aisle and shit like that. And Chief and Jack Lonzer just were waiting for me to rip me a new ass. Oh, and they were so right. They were so right. There's a lot of things like, as far as like the less you're realized and the less there's times I've come up to Pat and say, Pat, what did you think about the match? What did you think about it? He goes, oh, did you do that match? He goes, I said, yeah, Pat. He goes,
that's the answer you want.
That's the answer you want. He's like, shit, I didn't even, he goes, well, you're doing your job. I didn't even recognize you.
That's awesome.
It was just shit like, and that was always a big thing as far as just being less noticed, doing your job, calling it down the middle. And, it's like Gorilla Monsoon always said, he said to me, you got to fucking remember, he's like, Mike, referees comp tickets. They don't sell tickets in this business. Referees are, and that's the damn truth, and over my 35-year career, God, I can only imagine how many comp tickets I put out, that's it. But yeah, so that's a good thing when you're not noticed. That's for sure.
I agree. I prefer that style. Not saying the Hebner brothers weren't great, just a different style.
Yeah, and I always came up with a different style when it was 2. I always put this up because everybody used to go like this or that, and the way I rang the bell, I changed my style on ringing the bell. I put a little more, like oomph into it. And Vince used to love that when he's like, God damn it, I love how you ring that bell in the beginning of a title match. And I always used to hold it up, of course, to hard camera and then all 3 other sides of the ring. Then show the opponent, this is what it's for. I always just go to the other guys, challengers, and go, more work, more money, though. When you hold that title, and they're like,
it was almost like a boxing presentation when you did it.
Right. You wanted it to make really, to be a, they never put stats up, or they never did any of that. Pretty much, it was. But you got into it. It was just like you wanted to make it look real, and as far as much as you can. I mean, because in our eyes, it is real. I mean, it's just, because they go through 30, 40, 45-minute matches, eating the shit out of each other. And, and when a referee has to take one bump out of the whole fucking match, you can't complain about that, right? I mean, they're taking bumps and going crazy, making the money to make it work. And the referee definitely has to do his job.
Well, we'd like to apologize to our audience. Apparently, there's been no audio up until about 30 seconds ago. So
they'll be able to rewatch it.
Yeah, it's a great opening. So make sure you rewatch this.
We've discussed on our show, Filter Free Podcast, about referee Dick Worley and his wrestling boots.
Right.
And I love it. Like, as we're talking about, like your different take on how you'd hold the belts, how you'd start the match.
Right.
He's the only dude I know of, referee, that wore boots. I don't remember. I mean, I never saw Blanco Lubitsch, never got down, so I could never see his shoes. But with everyone else, I've never seen him wear boots. It's just, I remember Dick Worley just because of that.
No, he did. I used to work with, I had the pleasure and opportunity to work with Dick Worley in early 80s. I mean, not as refereeing though. I wasn't even a referee at that point. I was doing crew and stuff. But I would, he was a great guy, loved golf, and he would wear these white and black referee boots. And he would take so much pride. He'd polish them up, shine them up real clean. It was, Dick Worley was a hell of a guy, especially in the wrestling business.
I think we need a Kevin Von Erich referee, goes out barefoot.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
Don't speak that into existence. That's terrible.
Or like a Tojo Yamamoto, he goes out in the wooden sandals.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right, Mike. So we're going to jump back to what I think is probably the crown moment of WWF after the whole Hogan era. It's WrestleMania 14, Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Right.
And you get your first WrestleMania main event. Hebner is ill.
Right.
I don't remember what was going on with him, but
yeah,
you get the call.
He had a brain aneurysm.
Oh, yeah. So Hebner was down and out. You get the call. You're going to be the referee for the main event.
Right.
Austin Michaels. You got Mike Tyson as the special enforcer.
Yeah.
What kind of butterflies do you get going out for the main event, your first ever in a WrestleMania, and a caliber of that, with the Stone Cold Steve Austin coming out ceremony and Mike Tyson out there with you?
And you're in Boston.
And Shawn Michaels is pissy at that point.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was, man. But I mean, yeah, Shawn and Stone Cold, I mean, I've worked with them for quite some time. The butterflies were there definitely, as far as, I got to fill Earl Hebner's shoes, in the main events. And, at that point, my career, I was doing some main events, and I was doing, at that point, WrestleMania 14. Let's see, I was doing crew all even WrestleMania 4 and 5, and like when Shawn came in to the WWF, I worked with him with the Rockers with Marty Jannetty for many years. So me working with Shawn and Stone Cold, it was kind of like, okay, I worked with these guys for many years already. So it was kind of like I was nervous, but I wasn't nervous, I was more nervous making sure, hopefully that Mike Tyson got in there at the right time and made the count at the right time. So I think that match went great. We did a little bump out of the turnbuckle there a couple times, just squashed me in the turnbuckle. Everything, the match and everything. And that's when Stone Cold basically started his push, right? I mean, he basically really took off from there after, Shawn Michaels' back I remember he had a bad back. He had to go, I think he got surgery not too long after that. So
it was gone for 4 years after that.
4 years, right?
Yeah, he took that bump off the casket at Royal Rumble, and that
right.
Yeah.
So he took off. Was it 4 years he took off?
Yeah, it was back in the fall of 02.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Do any referees ever get like boo-boo face when they are in the main event but don't get to make the 3 count?
They get boo-boo job face for referees.
That's a good fucking question. I mean, like, yeah, you work that whole match. I could see that too coming. And then you work the match and you can't finish it. But, when it's Mike Tyson, shit, I didn't care. Mike Tyson was cool. He came in, we had rehearsals one night. He comes in and, with his entourage, and he's like, yo, what's up, Mike Chioda? And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, my name? He was like this huge wrestling fan. Huge. I'm like, here I am marking out for Mike Tyson. He knows my name. I'm thinking, whoa. That's how much he watched wrestling. And, he had much respect for the business. Everything we had a great time. It was like, and then the buildup, I think, was pretty cool, with the ring, with the, the chaos that went out in the ring with Vince and Mike Tyson and everything. And,
After the Rumble, that was great.
Yeah, that was cool.
Did you get any of that money that flew out of
it flew out, all the hundreds that were flying around, right?
Picking them up, sticking them in his pocket. What?
I loved it too. I know.
I didn't see any money.
Oh man. Yeah, I know, right? And
by the way, did you guys see my new Lexus?
Yeah, right. Tell me about it. And that was great about them days, man, in the 80s. And we used to get $200, $300 advances towards our pay all the time. So you'd be able to take cash out and then take it towards your pay, and then you still get a check later on, like for all the shows. But then it would be like minus 200 every night because you'd come home with just, cash because you'd take an advance if you need cash. That was the best when you were married. Getting cash on the road and be able to go to a strip club without using your credit card was the best.
Did
so
the
once
strip
the
clubs
boys
have
started,
the old credit card machine?
once the boys started having to use their credit cards and cash advances stopped, boy, it was easy to trace them.
By the way, if there are any current referees watching this, the next time you're going to go to the ring and take a bump during a title match, we're going to need you to give boo-boo ref face.
Yeah,
you're not going to make that 3. Just Charles Robinson in the corner.
Yeah, right. I know.
This is stupid. I don't want to be here.
Does it? It gets like it was kind of cool, but then when you get the referees, you'd have like Shawn Michaels doing the main event, or you have somebody else doing a main event referee, and it was like you didn't mind really. So it never really, I don't know, it didn't change your pay, that's for sure.
Right.
So, but sometimes it's more bad. I know refs like, okay, yeah, like if another referee, one ref gets bumped and another referee comes down and gets the last 3-minute glory, it was like shit, like I'd rather be on the 3-minute glory than working a hard match for 35 minutes and get knocked out and you finish it.
Absolutely.
It's like, but
the only thing I never really understood about that was there's matches where the referee gets knocked out and then another ref will come in and make the 3 count.
Right.
And then you have like Cody and Roman at WrestleMania, the referee gets knocked out and nobody comes down.
Right.
Wouldn't there always be a referee on standby if this was like a normal thing?
Yeah, that's what you're always thinking. Like there's referees on standby, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about
that's always
this.
kind of bugged me.
Well, little Nate had already showered by then. You're not going to send him back out.
Yeah, little Nate didn't work. He didn't work WrestleMania this year.
Oh, he didn't. No, he didn't. You're right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he had something going on. So they kind of like gave him off for that WrestleMania. But he's supposed to be good to go, taken care of. I think he's back and he's good to go.
So speaking of 3 minutes of glory and referee boo-boo face, let's talk about Ric Flair's last match, where you work the entire match, you take the bump, and then that some bitch Dave Miller comes down and gets all the glory.
From Mississippi
gets a great call from Shivani. What is going on there? What a jobber of a referee he is.
I said, holy shit. I was like, he's coming down. I was like, okay. I was like, like who's it? He was like, oh, he's good friends with real nice guy too. Real nice.
Oh yeah.
We know awesome. Dave. We know Dave.
We love Dave.
Guy. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, I guess, well, this is which way my career is ending.
I got replaced by Pondwater Dave.
You got shown up by a guy 20 years your senior. What the hell?
He's supposed to be some real big fan. He's a friend of Conrad Thompson's too, or real good friend.
Well, he actually is a referee also.
He is a referee. No, he is a referee.
What state did he just get elected into or inducted into their Hall of Fame? Was it Texas?
Texas or Mississippi one.
He just got inducted into some wrestling Hall of Fame in some state for being a referee. It might have been Mississippi.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is legit.
Shit. Yeah.
And actually, after Flair's last match, he started refereeing more regularly again.
Yeah, because he had retired for a while there, and then.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, got back in it.
Gotcha. Yeah, nice super guy. And, like Conrad wanted to give him I think like Ric Flair is one of his favorite wrestlers of all time. So. And it was nice. It was nice that everything worked out. I was just glad, Rick made it through. 73 years old at the time, I think. It was tough, man. And he got through it, man. He got through everything. Thank God. And Rick's a great guy, man. And I was honored to do that. I mean, I was honored to get the call and say, hey, we would like you to referee this match. And I said, sure.
Charles Robinson might have been sitting at home with referee boo-boo face.
And it sucks. Like he was told he couldn't even come to the show to see it.
But they had Undertaker and Foley sitting in the front row.
That's jacked up.
They had Foley. Michael Hayes was backstage. It's good to see him.
I don't think anybody's going to tell Undertaker what he can and can't do anymore.
Exactly right.
Or
That's
Mick.
true. Or Mick. And but there were some guys.
Can you not wear sweatpants? You're gonna wear sweatpants. Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean, that was my first thing. That was when I got the call from Conrad, and he said, "Listen, Rick, would like to know if you want to do his last match." My first thing was like, "Wait a minute, like, what about Charles?" And they were like, "Probably WWE won't even let him do it." And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like his last match, Charles Robinson. Now, tell me this is a finish. If I do the match, I take the bump, the super kick, boom, I'm out. Here comes Charles Robinson.
The place would have erupted.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? And that's exactly, I'm sitting there going, we're thinking this out. And I'm like, and I said to Jeff, I said, Jesus, and at that time, I think Jeff got hired with WWE. Right.
Yeah, he was because he did SummerSlam the next night.
Right.
We were there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So, and Rey Mysterio showed up. And I'm very good friends with Rey Mysterio and Dom. And we were hanging out. We got to hang out a little bit after the show that night too, me and Rey and Dom. And I turned around to Jeff though. We were talking about, I said, Jeff, man, like you couldn't get Charles Robinson to run down on this? Like I take the bump and here comes fucking Charles. Like this place would go nuts. Plus I'd be happy for Charles,
Mm-hmm.
And he said, man, I don't know. I don't think WWE would let him do it. I don't even think they asked WWE. But then when he asked to come through text message, they said something about he couldn't show up.
That's crazy.
So I know that's brutal.
It's not like that match was going to put them out of business.
Right. Exactly, man.
Come on.
I know.
One off from Conrad Thompson and Crockett Promotions.
Well, you kind of wonder if WWE didn't have a little bit of boo-boo face because of, they gave Flair the big send off and then he was going to wrestle again. But
he wrestled in TNA anyway.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean,
yeah, it's
petty shit.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, Triple H loves Hunter, so I mean, I know he'll do anything for him, so I mean, I don't know. I just felt bad for Charles, man. That's where that would have just been great, and I know Dave, it was a great moment for Dave and everything, but as far as, me and Charles go way back, and I just felt more for Charles, like, man, that would be just fucking great, man, if he come, get his ass here, fly him in, see if he can call somebody. Because I kind of found out the finish that morning. So when I got there, and I was like, man, if there's any time to get Charles on a plane, get his ass here now. Charlotte to Nashville ain't far, But they were in town that weekend.
Yeah, because they had SummerSlam the next night.
Right.
Yeah.
So they were in town.
No,
because we all went to.
SummerSlam
It was Saturday night, and then Sunday was our show. Yeah.
Yeah, see, we all went to Nashville for that. We were there for StarCast, and
okay.
When a lot of the big shows like that, we get a suite, and so we had our suite for SummerSlam, and then it was the next night. Well, I didn't go. My old lady hates wrestling, and we made a Nashville trip out of it, so I couldn't do
2 nights.
She went to the Flair roast with me.
And then I heard that was pretty brutal.
It was
fun.
It was something else.
I don't remember much of it. I don't know.
But yeah, it was the Flair roast was great. And that was originally supposed to happen in 2019, and Flair got sick.
Right.
And so that got pushed back. But I mean, it was we had a blast. Then we had StarCast the next day.
Right.
I think we went next 2 days, just hang out. We didn't go to many stage shows or anything like that, but kind of make appearance here and there, see some friends, whatever. And then we went to SummerSlam on Saturday night, and then Sunday night I had to take the old lady out to a nice dinner. So I had to miss the Flair match, and I would have loved to have gone. I watched it since, but not the same. It would have been fun to be there live.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't meant to be. So it is what it is, though.
Yeah, I was impressed with Jeff Jarrett, man. The way he was in the ring, he was in great shape that night.
Yes,
in great shape and everything. I'm like, fuck, Jeff can still go, man.
His old ass still wrestling.
And then boom, he's back on AEW. He's on AEW now. You know,
it surprised me when WWE let him go and he went straight to AEW.
Yeah, it was weird because
by that.
Yeah, I did. I mean, when I seen him down in Nashville, he got signed. I was like, holy shit, congratulations, blah blah blah. And then a month later, I seen him in Chicago. I think it's somewhere, Fight TV. We did a show there in Chicago. And I see Karen and Jeff at the front desk, and I'm checking in. I'm like, hey, how's things going with WWE now? So, he goes, you didn't hear? And Karen's like, you didn't hear? I'm like, no. He was like, oh, I got released. I'm like, what? And he's like, oh yeah, Road Dogg's back in. I'm like, what? I'm like,
that's right.
That was right before Top Guy Weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Top Guy Weekend.
Probably that's probably where it was. Yeah.
Did you ref at the wrestling showcase at all during Top Guy Weekend?
Yeah. I did the Cardona match.
Okay, yeah, because we were there for that in the front row, just stirring up shit with everybody.
Okay, yeah, I did the Cardona triple threat match. Yeah.
No, at the end, so that championship match. Yeah, that's good stuff.
So speaking of AEW, I wanted to get your opinion. The most famous referee in the business right now, Aubrey Edwards, is getting ready to make her in-ring debut.
Oh yeah, I seen that coming
against Karen Jarrett.
Against Karen Jarrett, not against a actual wrestler.
Karen Jarrett is tough, man. She's fucking
no doubt.
tough. She's gonna get her shit over, boy. She is a tough one. I'm telling you.
The shit out of my buddy Cassio at Top Guy Weekend last year.
I remember that.
Yeah, Aubrey, she's got her hands full, boy. I'll tell you that.
So, what do you think? I only found one match that you were in, and that was a tag match that you were in.
Right.
What do you think about referees wrestling?
Man,
particularly her.
Well, hey, look, she might have a phenomenal match, and believe me, I didn't. When I walked into the TV that day, we're like, "Oh, Chioda, you're wrestling tonight." I said, "Wrestling?
What?"
I'm like, "Wrestling? Fucking what? Or who?
Wrestling what?"
And I'm
Brock Lesnar, you're gonna take 9 suplexes.
I thought they were gonna have I thought they were gonna fucking like put me in against like a job guy, against Brock Lesnar or somebody or whatever. But I'm like, do I got to get wrestling boots? They're like, no, you're gonna wrestle in your referee gear. And then they told me you're gonna tag up with The Rock, Jericho, and you're going against the Dudleys and Nick Patrick. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my God. This could look either fucking really bad or thank God.
We're going to put you through a table.
Yeah, thank God I only had a few little spots, man. And Bubba was telling me the whole day, you don't sell this fucking clothesline, Chioda. You remember, you're not one of the boys. You're a fucking referee. You see me the whole time when I'm running across the ring with my hand on my chest like this. I'm like a little pitching out. And the next thing you know, we come back backstage or something. And we're back and I goes, Jesus Christ, Chioda. He goes, you fucking oversold that clothesline. I'm like, what? He's like, no, I'm only kidding.
Somehow I don't think when Aubrey found out she was going to be wrestling, she reacted like you.
Yeah. Oh fuck.
She is very performative.
Yeah, she is, man. She is. So it might turn out pretty good. I mean, she's an entertainer refereeing. I mean, she entertains you when she's refereeing. So I mean, which I, in my old school knowledge is like the more you're less known, the more, the more credit you'll get to your profession as far as refereeing. But I mean, it's women referees are moving up in the business. That's for sure. They've been moving up.
Who's the one in WWE? Jessica Carr.
Yes,
yeah, she's very
Jessica
good.
Carr. Yeah, she's good.
She's excellent.
Yeah, and so I mean, they're moving up. I wish I be down at the PC. That's where I thought I'd be. I was down there helping training some refs. Before I left, before I got let go. And I thought I'd hopefully move down in that situation, moving to Tampa and close to, Orlando and go that route. But it didn't work out like that. So, but yeah, I wish I was down there training some refs because a lot of those young refs coming up, they still definitely need some training. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got to move to Tampa. Greatest city in the world.
Yeah, sure
please.
Is. Tampa's
That's where
booming,
I'm from.
Man. Oh, okay, cool. It's booming out here, man. It really is.
Tampa's almost as bad as Pittsburgh.
Whatever. Come on, I'm a Steeler fan now.
I know that.
So I don't know if you're gonna know the answer to this. You probably won't, but we mentioned your 6-man tag match, and it jumped in my head.
Yeah.
So you've got this is during the invasion angle, and you've got a WCW referee, Nick Patrick,
right,
who still to this day does not get his fair due.
Right.
And he's with the Dudleys, a predominantly ECW tag team, because none of their referees came over. And probably the most well-known ECW referee was Jim Molyneux. Is there a reason why he didn't go to the WWE, or we're just no interest, or what?
I don't know. Yeah, like when Charles and Nick Patrick came, I think that was a lot to do with Johnny Laurinaitis. I think that had something to do with Johnny. But I remember was it Pee Wee? No, not Pee. Didn't somebody from ECW? What was his?
Oh yeah, Taz's manager with the damn whistle. Alfonso.
Yeah, Alfonso came over. He refereed for a little while. I thought somebody else did too.
Alfonso, he refereed before then too. Before he went to ECW, he was a referee.
The kid, oh my god, the nicest kid.
I know it's the kid, the guy that looks like he's the guy that looks like he's 15 years old when he wrestles the Shane Douglas title match.
Yes,
from like 93.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. I just saw it the other day.
That might be Posey.
No.
Mike Posey, or
Mike Posey might be it. Yeah,
I think Posey, because he's like, he looks so young still, and he's like 40 years old, I think, or 40 something years old. But I think
it's like me.
If you go back and watch the Shane Douglas 2 Cold Scorpio match it's the match where Shane Douglas throws the belt down. He's the referee. He looks like he's 15 years old in the match.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's him. But it's Mike. I think Mike Posey, something like that is his name.
Yeah, that is.
But I think you might be right. He might have actually came over later.
Yeah, you sure did. Yep.
Okay, Mike. So better hair as a ref. You with the mullet, or Jack Kruger's comb over.
Oh, those are fucking names from the past. Bill and Jack Kruger. Holy shit! How many times me and Chimley used to be hot at those boys because they'd be out of Illinois.
Did he ever smile? He always looked pissed off.
He did. That's true. I know he always looked grumpy, right? Like grumpy or pissed off. But I know. I remember them guys. Terry Garvey used to go, "Hey, Mike, Tony, you guys got to do these shows here and there." Like we'd have like so many days off in a month, and like, why? Oh, well, Bill and Jack Kruger can't fucking make it. You got to cover for those shows. We're like, what the fuck? We're like, we live in Jersey. We're based out of Jersey. Like, fucking Chicago's a good 12-hour fucking drive or more. We're like, damn. But Kruger. Yeah, I don't know how long he refereed, like 3 or 4 years or something.
I fell into a wormhole on the network of watching 86 Wrestling Challenge and actually found him working as an enhancement talent.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, and I was like, what the hell is this?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So I think he started reffing in late 86, early 87.
Right. Yeah, he didn't referee for too long, I don't think. For a couple years, but
very great hair, very great, memorable hair.
Yeah, I'd stick with my mullet back then, man. That's for sure.
There was a guy from that time frame. I cannot remember his name, but every single match he ever refereed, no matter how many times he refereed tonight or who was in the match, eventually he had jet black hair. It was super thick. Eventually, by the end of the match, he was always standing straight up. His shirt was always untucked. It looked like somebody mugged him in the middle of the match.
That is Jack Kruger.
Oh, is it Jack Kruger?
Yes.
Jack Kruger, yeah.
That is him.
That was probably Jack. Or no, maybe Mike Toomey.
Because he looks like Mr. Bean.
Yeah, anybody remember Mike Toomey?
Yeah.
He used to do ring crew stuff, and he was refereeing there for a little while. It could be Mike Toomey.
I'm asking
well, when
Google
you say untucked shirt, I automatically think Jack Kruger, though.
Yeah,
because guaranteed he was going to be untucked by the end of the night.
Yeah. It's either one of the two, either Jack Kruger or Mike Toomey.
So here's a fun fact: when you Google Mike Toomey WWF referee, Mike Chioda pops up.
Oh no shit!
Did you know that you're him?
When did you change your name?
I don't know.
When he started tucking his shirt in.
Well, tell him thanks for the plug. If you plug his name, and mine pops up.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for the push. Fuck.
What are your thoughts on Tim White being the first referee inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Man, God bless Timmy White. I miss him dearly. It was a very good friend of mine, a mentor in that business. He's always been good to me. Refereeing with him, he taught me a lot on the ropes. Tim White for this business did so much. When I was working a cruise years, like when I was still in high school working for Gorilla, Tim White used to take care of Andre all the time, and he used to always show up in this van, with Andre in Wildwood or the Spectrum, and he used to take care of Andre. And he did that for like 8 or 9, 10 years. Then he came in, did other things with the company, and then he refereed, and he became an agent. Then he went on to do other things. And I think it was phenomenal that Tim opened up those pearly gates for us, man, to to the Hall of Fame for referees. Just getting Tim in, and rightfully so. I think Timmy definitely should be in there first, because he's done so much with in like the early '80s and with Andre and everything for the company. And I hope they continue it. As far as getting Joey in, hopefully Joey goes in and Earl gets in. And I would, I gotta look at it, that line of, if you want to call it Mount Rushmore's or whatever it is, I got to look at it that way, because Joey was definitely, look, he did the Andre and Hogan match. He's done some phenomenal matches in his career, with the short career that Joey had before he passed. And then, you're going to go on to Earl Hebner. Of course, Dave Hebner didn't have a long career in refereeing, but, Earl had more of the career. And then, hopefully it continues. And I'm so happy. I just wish Timmy was around to see it, but his family got to see it, experience it. And it was just a great thing, man. It was just, I was just, and I always want to say, hey, thank you, Vince, for doing that. Thank you, Hunter, whoever had to, put that together. It was awesome. So, I mean, and thank you WWE for starting to get the referees in.
Agreed.
It's a long time overdue, man. I mean, it's
absolutely.
There's got to be 3 men in every match, or
that's
least
why
3 people in the ring. So,
and that's why I just put a patent, put a patent on, like, for things coming up. I call it like third man in the ring. So whether it's going to be for a book or be for this, it's going to be for my website and all. It's going to be like third man in the ring. So, because we always were the third man in the ring. I mean, so, like, and all the incredible matches I've done in my career, and I mean, just whether it's on TV, regular TV, it was on and whatever. We used to do TNT. We used to do so many shows. You never knew, like, a lot of the matches will be iconic matches. You never knew, like, oh my God, people still talk about the Razor Ramon 1, 2, 3 Kid match. People still talk about Rock and Hogan. People still talk about this match, that match. The ring collapsing today went viral on Twitter. you know.
20 years ago today, the ring collapsed.
Yeah. And I got, one of these little, I don't know if you could see it, but it was like a plaque they made.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
It was a plaque. But
who was the ring crew for that one?
Now that ring crew, we did the ring crew for that, but see that who took care of that was Mark Carpenter, where I worked for many years out of Connecticut and near Bridgeport, Connecticut. Something like that. He used to have his machine shop there. And he made all our rings for us in the 80s. And I mean, talking about the old school rings to the spring coil in the center. Mm-hmm. And then we went to plank rings and all that. And we used to always go there and pick up new rings and steel cages he used to make. And he's phenomenal at making rings. He is the best in the world. And he does the rings and all this. And he worked with Ellis. Ellis was the props guy, the stunt guy. And Ellis, he did a hell of a job with Mark Carpenter putting that whole thing together. It had a ton of airbags underneath the ring. They had, we didn't do the cables, and they exploded the ring, and just this one button, and where it just collapses everything. And it was like on some kind of hydraulic things where it just and it pushed out the poles and just collapsed the ring. It was phenomenal, man. We didn't test, the boys and I, we didn't test it in the ring, but they did test the ring collapsing at some point before the show.
The only thing that would have made that better if it was like Zach Gowen versus Nunzio.
So
Nunzio,
this is such an interesting thing. So when you're you three are in the ring, the suplex hits. Who hits the button?
Well, Ellis, I believe Ellis was in charge.
Because that was beautiful. It was
Ellis,
perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect timing. Everything went great. It was Ellis and Mark Carpenter were there. I remember Mark Carpenter being there the whole weekend. And it just went, I mean, everybody was happy. Ellis, I believe Ellis was in charge. I'm not sure if it was Mark Carpenter or Ellis, but when they hit that button, it just exploded and everything went perfect. My job throughout, all I had to do is worried about selling, like what the fuck just happened, and have this amazing look, and I remember Michael Hayes, and that's fucking great. Sell it, keep selling. And I'm like, okay, I'm just looking stupid, all right, and just like what just happened to the ring? But I couldn't oversell it. They didn't want me to oversell. I'm like, well, fuck. I'm like, how and man, I'll tell you, it became, once that exploded in the ring, the crowd got it got louder. It just fucking to a holy shit chant, and
then they ruined it by doing it again.
3 years later.
Yeah. It didn't work out as great, right? No, you can't keep doing that, I mean, it's gonna, I'm sure, they brought that backhoe for last SummerSlam or something down to the ring. That was something different.
That was awesome. We were there.
That was awesome. Yeah. I mean, it was so much, it was so cool back in the day in the 80s and 90s, the way they used to use props and limos and blow them up and fucking use concrete trucks and milk trucks and for Kurt Angle and beer trucks with Steve Austin. Like that shit was
Zamboni.
The Zamboni, my
right?
favorite one.
I mean, that was so awesome. And then, who gets, to hose your fucking boss down and his whole family? I mean, people loved it. I love the storylines back then and the stuff we used to do in the stunts. They don't seem like to do that much anymore. They're bringing it back a little bit.
Top Guy Weekend, we should have Chioda hose down Conrad.
Well, my favorite part of the Zamboni is as they show Austin backstage, right, coming towards the ring, and he's just running over everything. He's taking out light posts. He's taking down curtains. He don't give a shit.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man, Brock amazed me when he took off for UFC and he came back. Brock, I'll tell you, man, he has become the way he sells during matches, and he's,
beautiful.
It's unfucking believable. I mean, even during that Roman Reigns match and everything, it was, with Seth Rollins cashing the Money in the Bank. And I mean, he was selling fucking perfect. He had me marking out because I was actually thinking, oh fuck, he's really hurt. He's fucking dazed. His selling just got better. I watched a clip of him and Goldberg, even when Goldberg, spears him twice or something, or 2 or 3 times, and he beats him. just his selling up out of the corner, coming up from that spear. Was just,
when he beat him in 1:20.
Yeah, like 1:26 or something like that, or whatever.
That had to be like my most shocking wrestling moment ever. I never saw that coming.
No, I didn't see that coming either. Yeah, I didn't see that coming either.
But so my question for you is, you're obviously a wrestling fan.
Right. Became one. Yep.
How does it get ruined being the referee, knowing the ending of the matches? I mean, obviously you can't go out there and ref if you don't know what the hell's going on, but like, do you ever sit back and wish, man, I wish I wasn't reffing this match so I could watch it in the back, not know who's going to win, or I wish I could see this through a fan's eye? Because I think of JR and King, doing commentary. They obviously know what's going to happen in each match. And to me, like, that would suck.
Nah, I'll tell you, man. Yeah, I always wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to be a part of that finish or a part of that match and execute my job. And if I executed it the right way or executed my bump and didn't fuck up a match, I did my job, and I don't think there's with ring production for 23 years, Tony and Chimmel and I never missed a fucking shot. We never not made it to a ring crew, without the ring, or didn't make it with the ring to a show. If anybody out there could find, there may be one or two spoofs on me where I fucked up a match or something like that, but doing your job when you're in there and you want to execute and it's just sometimes, like when somebody, like, they always ask me, like, how many matches have you done in your career? I'm like thinking, holy shit, like that's a good question.
12,314.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I averaged, I try to do it with like certain dates. So sometimes two referees be at a show. You did 4 matches a night, sometimes 5 if there was 9 or 4 or 5. And all the times we've been on the road, and I'm thinking, they came to like 15, 18, 16,000 matches or something.
That's bananas.
And
I saw you totally count to 4 in the Sun Dome back in June of 1996.
The Sun Dome.
Yeah, I mean,
Shawn Michaels versus Gold Dust.
Yeah,
I never forgave you.
Yeah, right. And there's so many matches that with just Brock Lesnar and Brock and Kurt Angle, Seattle WrestleMania.
I was there. Yeah.
Yeah, so many. Okay, cool. And
amazing.
That was
19,
amazing.
Yeah, it's WrestleMania 19.
Kurt's fucking banged up, broken neck, this, that going on. Brock Lesnar is a fucking beast, and he, oh my God, I don't know how he didn't break his neck that night.
Because it's this thick. That's how.
It sure is, bro. And thank God that night, because he hung in there and finished that son of a bitch off, and that was a tough night, and just with all these matches that I've done in my career with Brett and Undertaker and this one, and just, it was just great career, man. It was great to be a part of those matches. The only, and to your question, Dave, there was one match that I'd probably, maybe 2 matches I would have loved to done, which Charles Robinson had the opportunity to do, and I'm glad for him because they were fantastic matches. And it was the first Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, and then it was the Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair match. And those
understandable
that I actually, as a fan, watching and fucking enjoyed those matches, but wish I could have been a part of that match too.
Well, it's just like, to me, it seems that like being an announcer is probably even worse. So, like this year's WrestleMania, you got Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, and pretty much everybody thinks Cody Rhodes is going over.
No,
you as the announcer, you as the announcer know that Roman Reigns is going to win this, and it kind of, like, to me, it takes the fun out of it.
Well, see,
because sports announcers don't know what's going on. It's sports. I'd like to see. I just would like to see one show where the announcers didn't really know what was going on,
right? And
see how they reacted to what it was. But I get it. They push points of the talk about and drive you as a viewer to really pay attention to. But I've always wondered how that would work.
See, to me, it's just, if you're in the bit, like, it's hard. Like, I watch matches, and we'll watch WWE, and I'll tell my wife, oh, this is coming up, this is going to happen, no, this is going to happen, oh no, false finish here, and then this, and I'll be like, oh, watch this, oh, the referee's going to take a bump, look, He's setting it up. The referee's like, you know,
So
and
you actively ruin wrestling for your wife. That's horrible.
Oh no, yeah, but she can
Your
only
wife's
watch
just
so
doing one
much.
of these.
But yeah, and she's just like, oh my God, how did you know all? Like, I just feel that's what they're calling. Like, you know, I can call it.
I just knew at WrestleMania this year, The Rock was going to come out and help Cody Rhodes win, and I was just waiting, and waiting. And it's gonna happen. This is gonna be awesome.
Kept waiting, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm still waiting. So I mean,
well, you guys are bringing this up.
See, I
believe JR has said he knew who was going over, but he didn't know the finish.
Right.
I think is what he said. But also on that point, so allegedly, the referee of the Brock Undertaker match where Brock ended the streak didn't know the finish because they wouldn't tell him. So when he counted 3 on the Undertaker, allegedly you can hear him on camera say, "Oh shit," because he thought he just got fired for ending the streak at WrestleMania when he wasn't supposed to.
Who was the ref for that match?
I don't remember. But Mike, is that a possibility that they're going to send the ref to the ring without knowing the finish?
I mean, they can always buzz him at that point with the IFPs, so they can always buzz him. But I'm kind of hardened. I remember that day. Something was going on that day.
Allegedly, it was only Brock, Undertaker, and Heyman that knew.
Right, because this was a huge. I remember something going on that day because this was a huge fucking deal. Because are we going to break fucking Undertaker's streak? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Never should.
And I don't think so either. You really shouldn't have. You know, and I mean, it's not like Brock needed to beat Undertaker to get Brock Lesnar over. Brock Lesnar's already fucking over. You know, it was like, I think they should have kept Taker's streak, man.
And he wrestled Bray Wyatt the next year.
Yeah. I mean, it could possibly had happened like that. But I doubt it, you know, because you sure as shit don't want to fuck up the finish between, you know, Brock and Undertaker during WrestleMania. You know, I can honestly say I've never been in the ring without knowing the finish. You know, they've changed the finish now a couple times here and there, but I've never been in the ring not knowing a finish.
So it was Chad Patton.
Yeah, Chad Patton did that match. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he said in an interview he did not know the finish going into the match.
Wow.
They probably told him.
So they probably told him during the match.
Yeah, they probably told him during the match. You know, but I mean, I don't get it either, because why not tell him before you go out? You know, because my thing is they made the decision that day, which was God knows how long of a decision they were thinking about that, you know. And you know, and I guess, you know, I don't know if Taker ever talked about that, where, you know, I'm sure Taker's cool. He's cool as fuck, man. He's like the man in the business. So, I mean, I know he does what's right for the business, you know, but to me, I just didn't get it to where Brock was over. It's like, okay, we're not making Brock because Brock's been made a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Seems like to me it was just for shock value, do anything.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but to break that streak just to shock somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like,
for them to only turn around and wrestle again at SummerSlam and then the Undertaker to get the win back.
Yeah,
right. And
what was the point?
To me is I don't know why they defeated him again. You know, I mean Roman. Yeah. So I mean, what's his record with 2 losses or 3 now?
25 and 2. I think
23 and I think he's 23 and 2 or something like that.
Right. See, to me, like, if they didn't do it with Brock Lesnar, it would have been, you know, like better with Roman, because they would have been like, there is no way Roman, because he was kind of hated. They were pushing him so much, the fans weren't accepting Roman right away. And it was kind of weird. It's like, you know, the fans are smart, man. I mean, you know, it's like, you just can't shove somebody down your throat. I mean, they shoved John Cena, you know, they push John Cena, you know. But they weren't really accepting it. And then I think it would have been better if, you know, Roman Reigns did it, because look where Roman is now, you know, and then he started climbing from there. And then, okay, Taker goes down 25 and 26 and 1.
He's 25 and 2.
Yeah.
25. Yeah.
Because he lost.
It would have been better like seeing Roman turn heel doing it or something. That would have made it.
He beat Bray at 31, beat Shane at 32.
I forgot about that Shane.
Lost to Roman at 33, beat Cena at 34. I guess that was technically a match, and then beat AJ Styles in the Boneyard match 36.
Right. Yeah. And I worked that Undertaker Shane match. That's the one Shane came off the cage, right?
All right, Mike, is getting ungodly high.
Correct.
Yeah. Oof.
So speaking of generational talents and generational matches, I think we've got one to bring you out of retirement. This past weekend, Ryback challenged Goldberg.
Oh, no.
So what are the odds of us getting you into the ring for that
one? Yeah, let me know. Give me a call. I'd love to.
What's your favorite Ryback match?
Oh, man. I don't know, man. He used to stack 2 or 3 guys on top of his shit. They were giving him a hell of a push, man. I felt bad for Ryback, man. I don't know.
He just did an interview where he said Ryback versus Goldberg at AEW. What was the next pay-per-view they got?
Double or Nothing, or
that's all out.
All in. He said they would exceed expectations.
Gotcha.
And everyone's like, well, what are the expectations?
Exactly.
What are they?
He's just getting back on Twitter and stuff, right? Wasn't he taking off for a while or something?
Well, it's because he put a poll out on what his next career move would be. One of them was retire, and that won overwhelmingly. So he said someone hacked his account, or they botted the poll or whatever. So he posted the poll again,
and he lost again.
And retirement won the second time.
Oh shit!
At this point, he needs to just give up.
I hear you. Yeah, but he was always a good dude to me, man. Ryback was always a cool guy with me. I mean, he had his difficulties with the office and stuff like that with some people, but he didn't get a fair shake, man. I think, they could have continued on with him, pushed him.
Well, they never should have put him in the matchup against CM Punk and kept him going that he was. It was getting over a little bit. Mm-hmm. I remember him at Florida Championship Wrestling doing the Ryback gimmick, and he acted like he was the Terminator. And it was some of the worst I've ever seen.
Sounds like Cena's.
I don't know if you ever got a chance to go down to Florida Championship Wrestling back when Steve Kern was running it in the warehouse on Del Mabry.
No. I love Skinner. Yeah, I love Skinner, man.
We did. So the last Legends episode we did was him. So I grew up with his daughter. Heidi. So but yeah, that was a good one. Steve's a good guy. We were promoting his new book, so it was a fun one. But my buddy Justin and I used to have one hell of a time every Thursday night down at the FCW show.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, good.
I was just sitting here thinking that I love that you call him Skinner.
Yeah.
But in my head, I'm like, well, what else would you call him? Fabulous? Like,
that's
what you call him.
Skinner, maybe Steve. I don't know.
Yeah, Steve. No, I used to call him Steve. When I see him, but yeah, like Skinner.
Doink.
He was a good dude. Yeah, right. Doink. Yeah. Skinner's cool dude, though, man. Real good guy.
He clued us in that he was not really chewing tobacco when he was Skinner. It was black licorice, and somehow that's grosser.
Yeah.
He had some. That was the good one. If you guys have not heard Legends, let's rethink this with Steve Kern. Check it out because it's good. He's got stories, and we're probably going to have him on again because we could do another 10 easy with him.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I'm sure he's got a lot of stories. Definitely.
But we didn't even talk about Memphis at all, and we still went over an hour.
Yeah, basically on Skinner.
Yeah, just Skinner.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You remember that year and a half of your career where you were an alligator hunter? Let's focus in on
that. Yeah, I'm an alligator hunter now. These couple alligators in my pond, I love it. They're floating all over here, man.
People are floating crazy.
Shoot them, little bit. Shoot them.
Yeah, we got some nice sized alligators.
Down in Florida, that's I was doing a thing the other day. I read an article about Lake Seminole. I'm down there at Reddington Shores. Right. Lake Seminole's right there. And a couple years ago, they removed 200 and something alligators from Lake Seminole.
Yeah.
And they said that wasn't even half of them. And people water ski and jet ski and swim in that lake all the time. And to give you a little context, Tim and TJ, Lake Seminole's not much bigger than the lake I live on.
Right. Yeah, we got a nice big size pond. Everybody's got ponds behind them. we're kind of out here in Wesley Chapel where it's swamp. But I mean, shit, we seen like just a couple months ago they were in mating season and we didn't get any rain, and the ponds were about 3 or 4 feet, dry, and so the alligators were popping up, coming out, and more aggressive because it's mating season. They go through like 2 months of mating season, and
thank you.
Right down the street, there was like at least this one had to be at least 10 feet. He was 10 or 11. He was huge. And he was at somebody's fucking front door trying to get in, messing up the door. And then he scooted into the garage because the garage door is open at night.
No.
And they were fighting. This is like 3 doors down. I'm like, holy shit, look at the side. Everybody, of course, Facebook,
And you guys ever see the video where the guy catches it in the trash can? Catches an alligator in the trash can on
he
Facebook?
tips the trash can or something.
Yeah.
He was all proud and shit. He was all proud.
This is why I live on the southern tip of Lake Michigan.
Yeah, but I got out because then they sent the freaking alligator people, the guys that catch them and stuff, and they sent them out. Yeah, right. They sent Skinner, comes down the next day, and they pull out like a 6-foot alligator out of one of the ponds. I'm like, well, that's not the fucking alligator. You could clearly see that this one was 10 feet fucking long, at least, not 6 foot, And they pulled the 6 foot out. And I'm like, that was heat with me. I'm like, people are all freaking out, from New York and, they're from the East Coast. So they're like, oh my God, alligators. Every time they see one, they tell the HOA, get him out. I'm like, hey, relax. Florida is alligator. Alligator is Florida.
Well, that's so like, my wife and I are, we are getting ready to move to Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
We're in Illinois now, and we were down there. I was down there a month ago with her, and we were house hunting, and we're looking at a house down on the Tennessee River. It connects 2 of the big lakes in Huntsville.
Okay, cool.
And the neighborhood has a dock and everything. So we go down there, and she's like, let's go to the dock area because we're big boaters. And she wants to go check out the dock area, see what's down there. And we start walking towards the dock. You get right by the water. There's a sign. Do not feed the alligators. And the look on her face was, you've got to be fucking kidding me. There's no way I'm moving here. And I said, honey, we are below the Mason-Dixon line. There are alligators.
Right. I know.
People get in this water. You'll be fine.
See, up here, we're just like, hey, man, I caught a catfish. Well, don't make sure you stick your finger and your thumb in the gills. That way the tail can't scratch you.
Yeah, but you guys got those sharks coming down the coast, man, now every summer, man, don't you? The great whites and stuff like that.
Not in Lake Michigan. Not that I know of. Anyway.
Oh, no, that's right. You're in Michigan. That's right. I was thinking Massachusetts or somewhere. But Northeast is getting a ton of sharks, man.
There was a bunch. I saw a video yesterday. It's near Orange Beach, Alabama. What's the name of the town? I can't remember. But it's almost like, you ever been to Destin? Crab Island in Destin. So it's each has a Crab Island in Destin, and all these people are hanging out in the water in a school of hammerhead.
Oh shit.
And you just see all these people scramble and hop up on this boat, and everybody's freaking out. And I'm thinking, like, how many times I've been to Crab Island on Destin, an hour away. Man. And it's, I've seen sharks there, but usually it's 1 or 2, all whatever, and everybody gets out. But
even I've been to Destin.
You see that poor kid? Yeah, I found Destin like 38 years ago, and there was nothing out there. Just a couple of hotels.
And now it's the new PCB.
I went there when I was in the military. Went there on Labor Day weekend one year, or Memorial Day weekend one year.
In Fort Walton Beach there?
Yeah.
The base there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. No, I was stationed in Mississippi at the time.
Okay, gotcha.
Drove.
Okay.
But what was it? 2000? Was it 2002, 2003? A kid was bitten by a shark in Destin. It took his arm off.
That was Jaws.
His uncle grabbed the shark and pulled it up on shore, and they were able to get the arm out. And they
I remember that.
Arm.
Yes, yeah. I do remember that. Yep. They filmed. I think they filmed Jaws in Destin or Fort Walton Beach. One of them. I
didn't know that.
If you Google it, the original Jaws was filmed in that area, whether it's Pensacola or that area around there. But did you hear about that kid off the cruise ship? And then he went on that pirate ship, and his buddies, they were drinking 18 and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, he just jumped off.
And they like said, "Hey, jump!" They're like urging him on, and he jumped, and then them sharks got him.
Yep.
Jaws was filmed in Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
They didn't film scenes in Destin?
There's Martha's Vineyard.
I know Jaws. One of the Jaws was filmed like at SeaWorld. Whatever one was their ski show.
No, because I thought I heard.
Yeah, said like Jaws 3 when it
Right.
comes in, and that was filmed in Florida. I'm pretty sure, but I don't know
I-
about Jaws 1 because I know it took place in like Massachusetts.
I rode the
Right.
Jaws ride when I was
Jaws
a kid.
3. Is
and
that
it
the one with
sucked.
Mr. T?
I pity the shark.
I pity the fool.
Anybody remember his Hall of Fame speech? Good night.
It's still going
Oh,
on.
He's still doing it.
Mama.
Man, I'll tell you, what about Conan's speech? That was a hell of a Hall of Fame
Yes.
speech. That was he knocked it out of the ballpark.
That
man.
was great. I mean,
Phenomenal.
Timmy's a huge Rey Mysterio fan.
He is.
In no way,
Yeah.
shape, or form. For some reason, I don't know how anybody can not be a Rey Mysterio fan.
It's
Right.
it's too bad we're not on StreamYard. I had the picture loaded there.
Man.
The Hall of Fame to me is one of my favorite nights of the year. I
Absolutely,
love watching
yeah.
the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I love seeing the old faces. I
Right.
love seeing people get their due.
Yep.
It'll never be complete till Demolition is in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what anybody says.
No, it's like guys like that are not in the Hall of Fame blows my mind.
Right. Moondog Rex.
blows.
Well, anybody
Yeah.
that I know for a long time, anybody that was part of that
Concussion lawsuit.
concussion lawsuit was pretty much barred from it. But
right.
I mean, hell, Coco Beware's on it. But granted, he was inducted beforehand. But
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that thing's been long thrown out. Let's some of these guys in there because, I mean, to me, Demolition was tag team wrestling in the 80s.
It was, man. I mean, I used to love those guys just to gear up in their gear and all that. And I remember just as a kid when I first started, I used to carry all that shit back to the ring. Go, God damn, this shit's heavy. I'm like, how do they wear this in a fucking ring every day?
Well, there was two of
that-
them to carry it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they had that was such an awesome game, and that's what I loved about the '80s and early '90s. Everybody had a gimmick and character, and they took it so serious, and it was entertainment, man. It was
And
definitely
before they
entertainment.
became workers, the trash
Yeah, right.
man, the plumber, the clown,
right. What
the
do they
hockey
call that?
player.
They call that the occupational error or
Occupational
something?
gimmick, yeah.
I know. Yeah, I was like, what? Somebody said that to me. I said, occupational error. I don't fucking remember that one. I'm like, oh yeah, and they're like, get the repo
goon.
man. The goon.
Leave the repo man alone.
Yeah, yeah.
So on our last episode of the Filter Free, I had read that Repo Man Smash, obviously, he left the WWF in late '92
Right.
time frame because he wanted to turn face, and they didn't see it. And our boy TJ here came up with the perfect way for the Repo Man to be a face, to repossess Razor Ramon's white Cadillac because he failed to make payments. I mean, like,
It writes itself. He loses to Bret Hart at Royal Rumble for the title, and then he goes outside in the parking lot. Repo Man sitting on top of his Cadillac and just drives off.
And then dumps it off Duke the Dumpster's trash
There you
can,
go.
probably.
See?
Trash truck.
Now you just made two guys.
I'm still confused why the Repo Man had to dress like Zorro. I've never seen a Repo Man that wore a mask.
Man,
you called him
what
the
did you
Hamburglar last time.
Yeah.
Were you guys watching wrestling when they had a big star come out and the Goobler, what was it?
The Gobbledygooker.
Gobbledygooker.
Yes.
Gobbledygooker. We were fucking shocked. We were like, what the fuck?
That damn turkey.
Does nobody tell Vince this idea is fucking stupid?
Yes, sometimes he just goes with it. Or he'll just change everything at the last minute at the end of before the show. We'll change every fucking thing, but
apparently that's back to happening. So
I
it's
wish I
back
could
to
have seen you
happening,
guys backstage. Like, oh my God, they're about to open this stupid egg. Hey, has anyone seen Hector Guerrero?
Yeah.
I saw him earlier.
We're bringing him one of the Guerreros. Sweet. What are we gonna do? We're gonna dress him up like a fucking turkey.
I know. I'm like thinking, how is this gonna make us money? Everybody was like, "What the fuck?" But
thank God he didn't make Undertaker come out of the egg.
Yeah, right. Nah, I don't think Taker would have never went for that thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah,
that
it's
is the
amazing.
only real gimmick that ever truly worked.
Right.
And the real gimmicky era, the Undertaker.
Yeah, the Undertaker's that was a phenomenal.
The perfect
entrance.
wrestling gimmick, I guess. And then you had Kane later. I never thought Kane was going to work in a million years, and it sure did.
Right.
So,
right.
And then he became mayor.
Yeah, became mayor. I mean, he was what, Isaac Yankem or something or whatever when he first
Isaac
started.
Yankem, and then the fake Diesel.
Yeah, the fake Diesel, and came in, and then look what Kane, man, that just popped. That popped. That was a hell of a storyline right there.
And the Christmas creature.
Yeah.
That was in USWA. Wasn't it? Yeah,
Christmas creature.
Because he was Unabomb and Smoky Mountain.
Yep.
So that's how I knew who Isaac Yankem was, because I had Smoky Mountain, and I knew he tag teamed with Al Snow's Unabomb and Al Snow, and they were always Rock and Roll Express. So
yeah, I mean that was a phenomenon. Paul Bearer was, he that's what he did. He was an Undertaker, like for years working it.
Which is funny because his Percy Pringle character was the exact opposite.
Yeah. He was a great guy too, man, from Alabama. But yeah, I'd say Taker's got to be one of the best gimmicks of all time. Got to be.
See, to me, my Mount Rushmore has to include the Undertaker. I don't know how you got to.
I mean, he didn't need a title all the time. They never put the title hardly on him. They never did because he didn't need it.
He's a badass.
Yeah, right. I mean, he sold tickets left and right, so he really didn't need to worry about putting a title on him. And I remember the entrance we did in '92, like at Wembley Stadium, and it was like 82,000 people, and we were doing crew. I did crew and reffing, and man, we were setting up for that fucking that fucking entrance just blew my mind. In '92,
yeah, with
82,000 people.
That was a good one. That was with the one with Kamala.
Yeah, I think it was Kamala.
It was the first. Right? It was a coffin match, is what it was called.
Coffin match, yeah.
But yeah. So, all right, Mike. Well, we really want to say thank you. We appreciate you for taking the time to come join us and have this little laugh for an hour or so with us. We try to
Thanks for
not take things too seriously because it's all entertainment.
Right.
So, some people get a little crazy with this, but we appreciate it. We will have another episode of Legends Let's Rethink This next month in July, as long as I'm not in the middle of a long move. So it'll be there.
TJ can take care of it.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So they're coming. We have some news coming down the line. We're trying to grow this as much as possible, but we thank you and everybody. We will see you next month.
You got it. Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.
You got it.
Yeah, you were great.
Thank you, man.